My name is Steen Møller, and I come from a place called Friland, up in the middle of Jutland, in the middle of nowhere. And my speech here, I will shortly represent it. It will, well, first a representation, and then something about why am I doing what I am doing. Some kind of philosophy, political statement. It'll be about 10 minutes a quarter. And then we'll come down to earth again and see some pictures from real life, what I've been doing through many years. And it will also take, well, of course, it depends on how many questions you have. And you are very, very welcome to ask all the questions you can find in your head. I'll try to answer. After that, we'll close it down. And then I will try to sign up, draw up the new ideas I'm working with right now. And then I think there will be quite a lot of questions. Yes, we will see. But welcome. My background, it is that I'm educated farmer. And after that, farming for some years, my back broke down. And then I started up a folk high school and was headmaster of that. And after that, I was a teacher on an organic farm school. But then my back totally broke down. And then I had to go on hospital to be operated. And that was the time on my life things changed. Because now I just was stopped for a while and had some room, some space where I could think over what is life. Yes, why I'm so busy, what I'm doing here, and yes, what's the meaning of life? It comes to one sometimes. And then I started thinking, and said, well, I feel like that I have lost my time. I have no time. And I have lost the space of life. I felt that my life was a kind of surviving. And I said, well, I am in one of the richest countries in the world, and I still feel like the survival of the fittest every day, that I really have to work along to survive. And on the other hand, well, I have never been in doubt about that I should have something to eat this day. I have never been in loss of clothes. I have never been in loss of a place where I could sleep under a roof. So I think there's something wrong. And to the other side, I could see I was so busy that I had lost connection with life. I had lost connection with myself. I had for many years been running a kind of life where I was so busy and so stressed that I had got out of contact with myself. I was out here. It's okay to be out there sometimes, just you come back. It's okay to be stressed, but the problem was that I was out here for so long time that, well, it's so it is. I just keep on staying out there. And that's a problem, because then you got out of contact, and then you are in action, and then you are what you call cool, because you feel nothing. You just go for it. Yes, we go. Just come on. And it goes very efficient. You are the definition of action. And just show me the problem you can't solve. No, because you are in action. Until the moment you're not in action. Suddenly one day it can be because you will be divorced, or one of your friends are dying, or one of your children is very sick, or something like that. You have to stop up. And then you find out, where is my feelings? I feel nothing. And then you have to go in search back to life. And that was the process I was in. And I could see if I want to come in contact with life, well, I want to go in that position. Then I need time and space. Not space like this, but a space where I can say, okay, now I can just find out what is the best, what is the meaning of my life. What can I give to myself, but also what can I give to other people? Because that's the meaning of life. That's my conclusion. My conclusion it is that the meaning of life it is to give what you have. Then you're rich. That's the richness. It is to give. The people who has billions of billions but still need more billions, they're not rich because they had not enough. Richness, it means that you are able to give out. So it was things like this I was thinking over and over, and then I also found out that I need another basement, another culture to stand on. The culture from here, it has been based on what we can call the struggle against nature. And I think, well, this struggle, it started because we were so poor, we were in loss of material, and we wanted to survive. We needed more. If you go 200, 300, 400 years ago, it was really a disaster here in Europe. Maybe you can compare what is going on in Africa, I don't know. But it was really a disaster, too few resources, and there was, war around who should take the power of the resources. So something had to happen. And there some of the guys, some of the philosophers, they found out the basis we have now. And so this basis, it is that we should not, the nature should not decide life for human. We should crawl up upon nature and decide what should happen. So it was the struggle against nature, and it was through what we can call rationality. Yeah, to be rational, it means that you go for the goal, you use the scientific knowledge you have, you really find out how is it in nature, this knowledge I turn over so I can really struggle the nature. Yeah, it's the short story. And then we have rationality. Sorry. And little by little, we also had the way of economy. It's not like that, it's English now. It's also, today we still discuss economy very much. You cannot open a newspaper, the radio or television. It's economy, economy, economy. We need more economy, or you use too much money or use too little money or something like that. And in behind of that, we also discuss work, labor. That we should work some more or we should work some less. These 3 or maybe 4 things, it's the background of the Western Europe culture. And it is very efficient to create material things. Yes, it has created so that we are very rich. But I say this should be our basis, what we are standing on. We need it. But what has happened now, it is instead of being the basis, we had taken all around. So it's a frame around our life. And then we have lost life. So I say, I want to get out of this jail. Not to destroy it, but I want it to come back to my can come in search of life. What is life? Because it's developing. Of course, as far as if you not have anything to eat, it's not interesting to discuss life. But when you have come to that level, well, then it's interesting. What is the next step for me? What is the next step for my neighbor, for my friends? What can we do? What can we create now? Instead of eating some more, instead of using some more clothes, instead of filling up our houses with materials. We need time and space to do that. It does not come clearly to you because it's a new way of thinking. We are going in search of life, and we have to go in search many places, many ways, to many cultures. And maybe we'll find out, well, there's a lot of answers. There's not only one answer, there's a lot of answers. Yes, but then we can represent the answers to each other and then have a rich culture. Because what happens now, it is the cultural. The culture is just gives in direction, it's rational, power. And it's not what I go for. So to create this life, I said, okay, I want another kind of economy, and it means I want no debts. Is it clear what I mean with that? No loans from the banks, no credit institutions. I want to create an economy based mainly on what I can have in my pocket. It means when I build a house or something like that, it should be created from what I can have of money in my pocket. And I wanted no subsidies to create it. And it's because, well, it's okay to give subsidies to some things, but I think if you are all right and you can stand on your own, you need no subsidies. You can do it yourself. Because if you get subsidies, well, the people who give you the subsidy, they always give it with an idea of you should do something. Because you do not get any subsidy without that you should do something you not wanted to do, or then there was no reason to give you the subsidy. So there's always a background of subsidies. I've been working many years in agriculture. It was fulfilled with subsidies. I've been working as a headmaster in a folk high school, a lot of subsidies. As a teacher on the farm school, a lot of subsidies. And what I felt was happening in this, well, okay, we take this subsidy, it supports us to go in that direction. Okay, then you go. But then little by little, they change the subsidies. Oh, no, we go little that direction, it's okay. But then suddenly, you go in a totally wrong direction of what you wanted. But you have to do it because the economy force you to do it. So I think it's okay with subsidies, but you should be very critical about, well, how can we get out of it again? Do we really need it? So I said it for a moment, no, I don't want it at all. And then to create something new, oh yes, I forgot up here. Yeah. Instead of struggling nature, instead of the struggle, well, I do not want to go back to nature. It's not what I want. I want to go forwards to a kind of where you can call it cooperation, and respect. It is so that we have to respect nature, but we are also here as humans. We can give something special, but both nature and the human culture should exist side by side, but we should support each other. And that's what we are standing in front of, we have to do it. Because this struggle now, well, it has turned over that we find out we are also a part of nature. If the air is destroyed, if the water is destroyed, if the soil is destroyed, we have a problem. And so we have to go in this direction. And to put it down to us, I say, well, we should create no waste or garbage. I'm a little bit in doubt about my English here, but waste, that's what I mean about it's also garbage. You should create no garbage at all. In nature, there's no garbage, there's no waste. What is waste from one organism? The shit from the cow? Well, it's nutrition for the grass. And the grass is nutrition for the cow. Well, it is these circles. And we know about it. The science have told you about how these things they are. We don't use it. That's the situation, I guess. It is we have knowledge enough about what we really should do, but no. It's dangerous to come over here. I'd better keep on in this line of surviving and be a rich man. But of course, it's a new world we are opening here, but I think it's also exciting. And these are the principles. I started to build up a new life in '92, and I built up a house out in the western part of Jutland. It was a house based on rammed earth. You know what it is? It's you ram sand and soil, clay together, and then you have a wall. And then I went out in the forest, took out timber directly from the forest and built up the frame. And I went out on the small lake and took the, not straw, what's it called now? Reeds, yes, reeds in the winter because there was ice on the water. So I took reeds for my roof. And then I insulated the house with, it was the first experiments with bales, but I also used fiber, flax fiber, yeah. And then I built up a house, and I did it for the amount of money at that time, 300,000 kroners, as I had in my pocket. It was a very big house. I have not the pictures here, but I have some pictures on paper over there. You can look later. It was an enormous house with a low use of energy also, heated by wood with a very efficient oven, Finnish mass oven. And also, oh yes, I have forgotten one very important principle here. Oh, no good. I think it must be because I need water. It was just before I started building of this house. There was the first environmental conference in the world in Rio. And there, some people, they had figured out, it was the question about resources. They had figured out if we should share resources in the world legally between everyone in the world, then it would be that the people in the rich part of the world, Western Europe, we had to go down to between 10 to 15% of what we were using. And that was very interesting. Because I think we have to share. Because there's a lot of people who is in this stage, they really try to survive. And it's reality. It is a question about surviving. They have no resources. And one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons, it is that we have organized it so in this globalization thing that all the resources, they come to us here in the rich part of the world. We have to change that because everything else, well, one side it is there's not resources enough to keep on the way we are living right now. In the rich part of the world, it's not possible. And what we do in the moment is through television and so on and internet, we show to all poor people in the world, so you should be, so you should do. And it's so crazy. It's so stupid. It's not realistic. It cannot be done. There's no idea in it. But now they are coming. South America, China, India, yes, you know them. They are coming now, and they need resources. And if they will go to the same states of use of resources as we have, then there's only one thing left for us. It's war. There will be war around resources. The two last world wars we had, First and Second World War, it was a question about who decide about the resources. They give many other explanations on that, but the main thing behind the world wars, it was who is in power and who decide about resources. Denmark is at war again now. We have just been in Iraq. There was an asshole called Saddam down there. And we have been in Afghanistan. Now we're also going home there. We have just been in Libya. And now we're also going home from there. And of course, I should not defend the assholes who was running these places. But when we were there, then I'm sure it was a question about resources, oil, energy, minerals, metals, nothing else. Everyone knows it. But we talk, no, we are going to give them democracy. Yes, we're going to help them. Yes, I know how far we are going to help them. We are going to help them that far that we have our hands in the oil. 6 years ago, I heard from Iraq that now there was made a contract between 5 oil companies in US and the Iraqi oil. Then I said, okay, now we go home. And there will be these soldiers left that can protect the oil places. And so it is. And it's not because I'm a prophet. It's because, but we will not talk about it. And that's also one of the reasons. The use of resources, it has to go down, down, down. Because everything else is war. And I think it's important for me to bring it forward, because we always do it like it's for the environment, yes, but one of the worst things for the environment, it is war, also for humans. So that was one of the goals I put up. It is, I want to go down in my daily life with my buildings, down to 10 to 15% of normal use, and find out how poor will I be then? How will it work? I did it and found out, well, what happened? It was when you go down here and you have, you really try to create no waste and low use of resources. It also means that your cost of life, they just go down, down, down. And it meant when I finished my house, that after 3 years, it was enough for me to work 1 day a week to have an income. That was all I needed. All my total cost a year at that time, it was about 6,000-7,000 kroners a year. And I can say I have done it again now, but okay, time has gone, but my total cost for living today, and we talk about the cost for the house, taxes to the house, insurance, heating, gas, electricity, and I also have a membership of our corporation. Totally, it cost me 14,000 kroners a year. It's 2,000 euros around that. And it means, and I'll show you a picture so you can see, it's not a haystack out in the field, it's a house. And I have a luxury life. And it means I only need 1 day a week to earn money. When I have been here today, well, I'm out of work for 1 month. It's fantastic, and I thank you very much. And it put me in a place where I'm just sitting down. I'm as busy as never before. But now I'm creating things new things on this basis. This should stand living up here. I'm still working for life. I'm working for life now, I feel, because I have my time and space, and I can do what is right to do for me. And I found out what is right for me. Well, it's important for me. It is also right for my neighbor and my children. So now I can give out my time, and I feel rich. I'm not rich on money, but I do not need very much money, because what we can call, if you have a high income, then often, if it's up here, then often your expenses, they also grow up to there. And then fall, then your high income is falling, you are fired, you're out of job, it falls down here, then you have really a problem. Because then it's hard to come down here with your costs also. But my costs, they are down here. And sometimes my income is like this, but my income, my costs, they are down here. And it means I feel safe in a way. Whatever will happen, well, it will not hurt me really. And I think today we need to feel safety. We feel fear today. And I think it's because we don't feel safety. Then we look at fears all over. But also, of course, television helps us a little. The internet helps a little. Because when we look at the television, it sends fear out to you. And why the television is only sending if there is someone to see it. If we not want to see all this fear in the television, they would stop it. So I think it's also because we have fear inside. We have to stop it. And at the time I started this, I also dropped the television. And I also dropped the newspapers. And that's maybe also, I don't know what really is going on. But on the other hand, well, you don't need to open much for the radio, because then you're updated. But I do not need to be updated from hour to hour. If I just update it once a week, it's all enough. It's all enough for me. Yes, now I think this was the theory. Now we go to see some pictures from reality, I hope. It has turned back in some way here. Yeah, and then, does anyone know about this thing? Can you turn it on? Yeah, it's coming and it is starting, isn't it? Yeah, it's like an airplane that is heating up. The pictures, oh yes, I forgot to tell you, I make my living today through, making speeches like this, but also I make show arounds on Friland where I'm living. And I also make workshops. And I also draw and project houses. Yeah, not only houses. I come back to that. Here we go, I hope. Yeah, no. Yes, can you see it? Okay, it's just to show you some materials. This is shells, mussel shells. In Denmark, we have a big industry that, they go out in the sea and catch the shells, and then they take out the meat, put it in cans and sell, export it. No one in Denmark eat this thing, I think. But then you have the shells left, there's an amount about 100,000 cubic meters a year. And I find out that they have an insulation value. It's nearly the same, do you know LECA, expanded clay? Yeah? It's nearly the same as expanded clay. And And then it also is what we call non-capillaric. It means that the moisture from underground will not move up. So we put nearly around 1 meter nowadays. When I started 15 years ago, it was only half a meter, but because of the requirements and energy saving, we are down to 1 meter now. But then we also can make insulation as it was a passive house. We have the edge down out here. It is sondolite, this white stuff. I don't know the English name. Do you know it? What? It's not concrete now.
No, it's polystyrene.
Well, polystyrene. Yeah, polystyrene. And you put it out in level. There's 2 reasons to put it there. It is that the shells, they are very wind open, so the wind could come through, but there's a barrier here now. And then it also make a good insulation out to the soil. Yeah. And then we have put out some, this house is for floor heating, just to show you. And the next step here, it could be a sand clay floor, what I normally do, but this has to go quite fast. It was on a folk high school where we're going to build a music house. So we filled up now with, it is concrete, beton. It's concrete, isn't it? Yeah, concrete. Yeah. And then this was a workshop. There was quite a lot of participants. We were about 22 persons. And we took directly from the forest these piece of wood. And it's good to be a lot of people here. It's a heavy job, but it's quite funny. Yeah, and then it went totally wrong, you see. It just goes right up in the air. And yeah, it gets worse and worse. But suddenly, anyway, there's a building. And it is built up in between here. It is straw bales. It's built up as insulation. Some what we call mini big bales. They have the size of 50 centimeters of straw. And then on the other hand, they are about 80 centimeters. And the length you can really do it as you want nearly. And then it is plastered outside with lime plaster. Just lime and sand. And the inside, it is plastered with clay and sand, clay plaster. We can see a little more. It's a music house, and there's the walls out here, they are not standing straight up, they're going a little bit outside. And it's because if you want a good music house, you do not want any surface that is parallel. You want them to, so the sound when it goes to one, here it can go back and like this, but the roof also inside here, or the ceiling, it's really going in all direction all the time. So it gives a very good acoustic sound in there. Yeah, and the roof out here, there is a membrane, and upon the membrane you just put about 5 centimeters of soil. The best is sandy soil, and then you have these sedum plants, very small plants, and you just take the leaves from one place where they're growing, and every leaf you just put down there, it's a seed. And you just do it in the autumn, September, October, because then it's so moisture like now, and then the leaves put out roots, and then it's growing. And they can stand when it's dry in the summertime. The leaves, they are containing water. So when it's dry, only for 3 months, it's no problem. So they just grow up there. It's quite easy, and it's a very cheap roof to make, and it's easy to make it. They tried today to sell it as it is very expensive and very, whoa. No, it's no problem to make it. Yeah, here's another building down there. just more about architecture. But again, we went to the forest and took some timber, and and it went terribly wrong. We could not have space for them all in the middle, so we put them like that. Yeah.
Maybe it's a stupid question, but when you say we just go to the forest and take the wood, how does that like go with the I don't know, authorities and stuff? Because I know in my home country you need approval to go and cut the tree. So how does
No, it's most of the forests in Denmark, they're private, so you just phone them and say, can we go there and have some wood? Yes, and it's cheap. It's quite easy in Denmark. I should not. It is very cheap. It is so raw materials where they are.
Yeah.
What?
You pay for a license, and then you can take as much as you pay for, basically.
Yeah. It is so raw materials. If you can go to the place where they are, it's very, very cheap. Yes, this kind of construction, I call it a self-loading spiral, but the technical word for it is a reciprocal construction. And the idea of it is when you normally go with a construction like this, and you put weight, load on the roof, then it'll do like this. It will press outwards. But when you take them away from centrum, like this, then it goes inwards. But they lock each other. So they're locked, and then they can do nothing. And it means the load on the roof, it goes vertically down. And it's a big advantage instead of that it's pressing out. It's really hard to these forces that go outside on a round building to take hand of them. But this is an easy way to do it. And it looks very fine. And then you have a skylight in the middle of the house, just where you need it. Yeah, you can see that it's growing up to that. Here we also just have put the membrane and 5 centimeters of soil, and I've just put some of these small sedum plants. This is, it's not insulated, this building. It is just a workshop, a nature workshop, where you can, you can put on fire in the middle of the building if you want. And it's no problem. Yeah, and also it is cloth from a tent we put on there. And then in summertime you can open it up like a flower. And the floor, it is just bricks and it's sand he's just taking around here. And it's bricks placed directly on crossed shells. Yeah, it's quite easy, it goes fast. It was, we were about 8 people to run this workshop, and we did it in 3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, you can see the top there. The light can come in, but it can also open up like this. I have not the picture of it, but it can. It looks very nice. It's the same building or the same construction, but it is insulated. Here is insulation. You can see the roof now. It's just fulfilled with insulation, and this is straw bales. Yeah, it's the south part. It looked quite special. Yeah, this is something now we go to making plaster. Did it with our feet, mixed the plaster with our feet and took it by hand, and then, yeah, it's a hard job, but it's quite funny. It's, everyone get laughing when you're doing it, but you get also very tired. So we have industrialized this process. We have these 2 mixers, and here we have a kind of pump, so we can pump it out. We can, in this way, we can pump out 1 to 3 cubic meter in an hour. It goes quite fast. They have same entrance, same bath and toilet, and same chimney. But then it's divided in two. They started with making the foundation, again with shells, and here it's also with clay sand floor, ramped earth floor. And then the whole construction of the roof was made beside the building, on the land, down, And it's much easier to make a roof when you're standing directly, and it's not dangerous, and it goes faster. And when it was finished, 2 cranes, they just took it up upon the, it is straw bales, mini big bales here again. They just placed it directly there on. And now they're starting to fill with, this is to the south, fill up with solar heaters and solar cells now. We go a bit inside. Here's an oven. We call it a flex oven, but it's also the man who invented this system, Jan Evans. He calls it a rocket stove, and it's because when it's burning, it sounds like a rocket. It really boom. You really is sometimes I'm afraid of that now. It goes up, but it keeps on standing. It's very heavy. But when we call it a flex oven, it's because, well, first I explained the combustion. You put your wood down here. It's burning in horizontally here, going up vertically, reach the lid up there. Then it turns around. The smoke, here it goes under the floor, over here, into our bench, and then into the chimney over at the neighbor. The advantage of this oven, it is that when it's burning, it is up at a temperature about 1000 centigrades. And when you make a good combustion, you at least need 750 centigrades. And that's what seldom happens in a normal oven, because when you come to that level of temperature, then the oven is getting red and you don't feel comfortable. But here you have the stones around it, so you do not, when it's burning, you do not feel anything special. And then when you have had this high temperature above the combustion, when the combustion is finished, then you can cool it. But you have a distance from where it's burning to this place and up to this place, at least 1 meter, where you should not cool it, where you have to insulate the space around the combustion. So the temperature really can get high, and you also need a high speed of air through this combustion. So the place where the gases are burnt, it's very small. So there you have a high speed of of air. But of course it mixes with the gases, and then you have a good combustion. It means when it's burning, there's no smoke to see out of the chimney. And there should be nothing to see. When you have a good combustion, well, then there's no smoke. The only thing that comes out of a good combustion, it is carbon dioxide and water. If I start smoking out of my throat now, you really should help me. So it also is with an oven. There should be no smoke. But then there's problems. Of course, if it is white smoke, then it means water. Then it's okay. But if you have this black or blue smoke, then it means you do not burn everything. And it means that, it's loss of energy also. It's poison that comes out of the chimney, but it's also loss of energy. My oven, as we look a little bit later, it has an efficiency between 90 and 95%. And at the moment I'm developing an oven, it sounds crazy, but I'll explain it. We are coming up to between 120 and 130% of efficiency, what is possible. Yeah, we come back to that. But it means also you just put this on fire once a day for 1 hour, and it's all over. Because of the high temperature, you storage all the heat in the oven, in the floor, in the bench. And here you have about 4 or 5 tons where you have stored the heat, and now it comes out slowly. Yeah, it's just an inside picture. Of course, the walls in a straw bale house, they're very, very thick. We have 50 centimeters of straw, and then you have 5 centimeters nearly of plaster outside and inside. It means 60 centimeters. But when you take it in this shape, well, it feels all right. Yes, this is my neighbor. He built first the half of his house. He has built the other half now. But here you can see this them plant roof, and it's changing color through the year. It's very beautiful. A detail I would show you here, it's the solar heater. It's sitting here. And it's really a good idea to place the solar heater here. It means a solar heater that is standing vertically. It produces nearly the same per square meter, both summer and winter. And it is about, in Denmark, it is about 450 watts per hour per square meter. In summertime, you could put it up so the sun would go directly on it. And that is right, you can come up to about 1200 watts per square meter then. But then in wintertime, when the sun is going low, there's nothing. And the problem in summer is also that if you go on holiday at that time, it starts boiling. It cannot get loss of the heat because no one is using the heat. So it's much smarter to rise it up. You have no boiling problems in summertime, but if there's sun in the winter time, then it's heating. That's one of the things. And when you put it down here, you can put the pipes so they are rising from this corner to this corner. They only rise 10 centimeters, but it's enough that it circulates itself. It's self-circulating. Hot water will try to rise up, and then it goes up to the storage in here, where it meets the cold water. And then it's cooled and go down and come back here. It circulates until the moment where you have the same level of temperature inside here as out here. And then it stops. At the same time, you can make hot air. There's a ventilation under the window gaps here. You can open inside. You'll not do it in summertime, but in the autumn and in the springtime, you can open. And it means it heat up the house also. And it means at the time where you had to heat up in your oven, you at least 1 month you take out of the year where the sun also will do it. I think there was one more. Oh yes, there's one thing more. It is when we use clay plaster outside. It is a problem in Denmark to the south side. The rain in the autumn and the frost will destroy it. But it's only the first half meter. And here they have placed the solar heater. And then you have solved that problem too. It is just to think the things together. That it's not only one solution, many solutions. And the other things is that I think personally that if you put this one up on the roof, it looks like, I don't know, something that shouldn't be there. It's ugly. I think it's okay to have it there. Yeah, it's the same house from the end. It's another house in Friland, a smaller one, also built up with mini big bales. And this is unprotected clay plaster all over. There's no lime on it at all. But they have a very big overhang, and it's also possible then. The overhang here is nearly 1.5 meters. Yes, another house built up in, it's also a straw bale house, but the construction is timber. And then the insulation up there, it is hemp. Yeah, hemp fiber. Yeah, it went terribly wrong with this one. Peter, he said, we should not live in boxes. We should live in sculptures. And then he formed out a sculpture, and then we built it. Yeah, it can, it's, well, yeah, I say it can easily be done. Of course, you have to rethink constructions and so on. But when you are a self-builder, it doesn't matter if you like to build. It is solar cells on the tower. Yeah, it's two people. They really wanted the climate in subtropics, but they wanted the culture in Denmark. So they moved the subtropics to Denmark. It's a greenhouse, normal greenhouse, reused greenhouse. They're built up, 300 square meters. And then they have built a house inside the greenhouse on 100 square meters. And now they're in the subtropics. It's very efficient, very nice climate in there. And if it's too hot in the summertime, you can see, then you just open up the window. Yeah, it's one of the first buildings from Friland. It's one of the buildings I projected, and I made a lot of workshops there to build it up. It's called the Raven, and it's with normal wooden frames, but the trick I've made it is that the posts, they're just different height on them. And then it's also, instead of standing in a line like this, it's also standing in a bow like this. And it means you get a structure where you get a big bird with two wings on. And that's, we call it the Raven. This is the south side, where we take on the roof. It was not, well, I would not recommend it, but it was because I have just got hold of too many shells. So I said, where to do with them? Well, we put them on the roof. So they are lying on the membrane, on the roof. It's like your dog, just say, you stay there. No, you need quite a big layer. You need at least 15 and best 20 centimeters. But then when you have such a big layer, it gets, well, if I take my mouth, I'm the wind now, and when a roof is taken away by the wind, it's not that it blows it away, it sucks it away. It's like that, and then you do like this, and if it's like this surface, you can easily do it. But if you have a surface with shells, it's like, there's no vacuum. They cannot get hold of them. So they stay normally. This is, we are now on a place on Friland called Friland Enterprise. It's a place where we make small companies. And, but this house, it is made of architects from whole Europe. We had organized a workshop. There came 350 architects from the whole world nearly, mainly Europe. And 40 of them, they made this building. It is also, it is a straw, but it is what we call biocore plates. It is compressed plates, special plates, it's built up in. That is my house. It is also what this self-loading spiral. So we have a skylight up in the top, you cannot see it, and have these sedum plants. And then this is the south side, have a very good overhang. And I have put the glasses down to the soil. And I can just recommend it. When you sit in here, here's my table and chairs. When you sit there, it's just like sitting outside. You just look out in your garden. It's very, very nice, and it gives a lot of possibilities of passive solar. And it is so that, well, if the sun comes now, my house, if the sun is running directly on nowadays, only for 3 hours, then I do not have to heat up the house. Then it is heated. And in the summertime, because of the overhang, the sun is only coming about 30, 40 centimeters into the house. and it's okay. It's not hot in there. The galleon, the head, it is a structure from the history, the never-ending history of Mikael Ende. I don't know about you, have heard about it, but it's the dragon, the white dragon flying for peace. Yeah, now in my kitchen, and this is my flex oven here. I have made another kind of chamber here. It means in this oven I can fire with sticks up to this length. I just place them there, and then they're burning in the bottom, and then as far as they're burning, they just go down, 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 down until they're burnt. That's one way of doing it. It's the most efficient way of burning. But I can also use normal size pieces of wood. But I can also put a pipe in it, and then I can use pellets. And I can also use chopped wood. Is it called chopped wood? Yeah. So it means that I can nearly burn every kind of wood in this one. But the combustion is the same as before. It's burning horizontally, up vertically in this room. And then the smoke goes around in the bench here, but then it goes around into the wall. It's a double wall, goes up around and back to the chimney. And into the wall, I have built in some pipes like into a solar heater. It's just put into the wall. So it makes also the hot water. So yeah, when we started here, it's about 1,000 centigrades, and when it comes back to the chimney, I'm down to 50 centigrades. And it means that I use nearly all the heat. And the next step into this, it is really the building I'm going to make now. It is, instead of going into the wall, I go under floor 16 meter. And it means then I cool down the smoke so much that it gets down to about 30 centigrades. And then the steam, the evaporation that is in the smoke, it goes into water. And then you need no chimney, but then you need a fan to take out the air. But another thing happens also. It is when you go into water, then you have the particles from the oven, the ashes, that is following. It's one of the problems about the ovens, that you put out particles in the air. These particles, they will connect to the water. And then they stay there. The only thing that will come out of this kind of chimney, it is carbon dioxide. There will be no particles, there will be no water. And instead of that, you will have an efficiency that goes up to 120, 130%. And it's because when you go from steam to water, then it gives a lot of energy. That process gives a lot of energy back. You know it when you go the other way, when you have water, when you have humid wood that you should burn. Well, it can burn, but you feel like, well, where is the heat? And it's because all the heat goes to evaporate water. So to evaporate water, it needs a lot of energy. But when you also go the other way, when you go from steam to water, it gives a lot of energy. And that's why you can have a higher level of efficiency and you solve another problem at the same time. Yes. That's out from my toilet. I have snakes on my toilet. It is made in, it's a technique called Tadelac from Algiers, and it is made in lime and marble and brown soap. That's it. And it has really a surface that it's non-sticking, and the water cannot go in it. And it's nice, really nice to feel at, very smooth, like marble. And the day you have to take it away, you just break it down and you can put it out in your garden if you want. It's no problem. Yeah, then we come to my wastewater system. This is a greenhouse where I have put the, not the plaster, what's it called now? Membrane, yes, thank you. Yes, the membrane down here, and then the rainwater is stored here. And then I can use it for the garden. I can have 5,000 liters in each side of the house. The only thing is I should have made it even bigger, but I didn't know. It was just an experiment. But, well, I both now have water for my garden, but what I also have, there's a lot of life here. It didn't go more than 1 month. There was salamander, nectarines, and this is wine, grapes. I think I should draw it for you. But what is going on here, it is all my wastewater from the toilet, from the kitchen, from everything. It is taken out under the greenhouse, and it is used as nutrition and water for the plants here. And it means that, well, there's no outlet at all. Everything is coming up through the plants. There's no outlet at all. It means that now your nutritions, they're turned over into food. It is directly from waste to food. It means there's no taxes because there's no outlet. In Denmark, you normally pay tax if you outlet wastewater. But I have no outlet. There's no tax. But I have an income because I have an internal income because I have a lot of fruit and vegetables has a value about 5,000 kroner a year.
So if you use your wastewater just to feed these vegetables, then do you have to, can you use all kind of cleaning stuff, for example, in your house, or you have to be aware of that?
I'll not say all kinds, but no, you cannot use chlorine and things like that. And it goes really fast to change these things because every time you have something in your hands, you should put in the toilet or the dishwasher or what, then you look at it and say, do you really need to eat this? That's what you think. And then you suddenly, no, I find another thing. So it comes, well, it was really funny for me because I've been living as ecological for many years. But when I made this system, it was a big step because now I really, in a new way, found out you have to take care about what you put in your toilet because now you eat it. And now I'm at the step where I can see, okay, my plants, they need some of this stuff. They need selenium, for micro nutritions. Well, I just eat selenium then. I also need it. Then I give it to them. You get in connection in a new way. If they need something, you just eat it. It's connected. It's one of the nicest thing I ever have made. It is this greenhouse. And I have made a lot of things. This is connected to my washing machine. I really use the water. This is 1,000 liters of these, what are they called? Tanks, yeah, 1,000 liter tank. Where I have some, at first I put 200 liters of water in it, clean water. And then I put whole shells until it was covered. Shells, they can contain between 85 to 90% of water, air. Yes, and then I had some kind of netting. And then I put off what we call filtration sand. And then up at the top, I just put some plants here from the lake, 3 types of plants. And then in the bottom, there's a pump. And it means that when it's washing, then the water is over here. There's first one kind of rough filter. I have to, every 10 times you have been washing, I have to renew it. But that's it. But then the water is coming through the filter sand. And then in the night, this pump automatically is pumping up again up here, and it goes down. It does it every second hour 5 times, and then the water is ready for washing again. That's it. And it's when I've done it, and I was forced to do it, it was because when I have this greenhouse, I need a connection between my nutrition and the water, a certain concentration. The main nutrition, a human outlet, it is during the urine. It's 90% of our nutritions, they are in the urine, and only 10% in the shit. So it's really, as a farmer, as a gardener, then I know the connection between urine and water. It is about 5 to 10% of the contained should be urine, 5 to 10%. And well, it is limited how much me and my daughter we can deliver of urine. We can deliver about 1 cubic meter a year, and it means, okay, then you only have to use between 10 and 20 cubic meters of water. And it is ended up, I used between 12 and 14 cubic meters of water. And one of the solutions, it is that the washing machine, it's not connected, it just recirculates. And one of the other solutions, it is when I go to bath, I'm standing up in a bathtub where I have put a small plate in, and then I take my shower, and the water is stored into the bathtub. And when I have finished the bath, I take the plate away, and then I can use the water to flush my toilet. That's it. And it means that what I use of water, it is for bath and for food. Also for dishes. Yes, that's it. And then it's no problem only to use between 12 and 14 cubic meters. Yeah, the last, it's only a few pictures that we also can make big houses as straw bale houses. This is one of my friends where I have projected a house in down south of Fyn. It's there are 2 buildings. The one is on 1,200 square meters and the other is about 900. And it's not the picture that is wrong, it is really bowing like this. And it's because I think that, well, we have industrialized agriculture in Denmark, but we have also taken the buildings of industry and put out there, and it doesn't look good. This looks much better. It's difficult to get into a picture, but it is really a big, huge, beautiful building. My friend, he is an organic farmer, so he used it for storing potatoes, carrots, and also to distribute them. They are packing them there. This is from England, where they have started making experiments with prefab, straw bale elements, and that is the next step I am developing at the moment. I think it's the last, no, I have one picture more. This is the oldest straw bale house in Denmark. It is, it's made in 68, but they started just after the war in 46 to make stramit, and it is straw that they heat up to 200 centigrades, and then they put it between two, it's pressed, it's compressed, can we call it. And when it's that high temperature and it's compressed, then the lignin, it's one of the nutrients into the straw, it goes out and is used as a kind of glue. And when it comes out of the end, then you have a plate. And, they have built houses of this in Denmark. And this house, we visited the guy who had the factory at that time. It is built in 68, and it's plastered with 10 millimeters of lime plaster, and it has been had got lime washed 3 times. That's it, and it's standing very near out to the coast. There's nearly only about 15 meters out to the water. So just to say, well, and there was a good climate in that house still. Yeah. Was the pictures. And now we can, I try to close down, and maybe we also should have a break.
Yes, that's
Yeah, we take a break. Yes. To draw the system of the greenhouse, and after that I will make some drawings about prefab production of straw bales. The greenhouse is built up something like this. We have, I make a hole in the ground, 1 meter deep. And then I have some shells. As I said before, shells, they can contain whole shells. They can contain between 85 and 90% of water or air. Do something like this. It is shells, and then in between the shells, to take up the water, then I have some soil. It is clay soil. So this is the shells. And this is the soil, and there's clay in it because it is capillaric, and it means it sucks up water. Then, you know, wastewater, it starts smelling. It does not smell good. But then, up here, we put a layer of sandy soil, 20 centimeters only, of sandy soil. It's quite dry, and it means it contains a lot of air. The air contained in the sandy soil is about 25 to 30%. And when there's air, there's also oxygen. And the gases down here, it is mainly methane gases. When the methane gases meet the air, then it goes into carbon dioxide and water. And it never comes up. There's no smelling in here, not at all. Then I have my wastewater, it comes out from here. We have, we make the toilet here now, something like this. Whoa, here goes the toilet pipe. And over here I also have my shower, something like this. It's just standing there, and then I have my, I'm showering now, and then I have this plate to stand on, something like this. And then the water is lying down here, and then I can take the water from here to flush the toilet, and it goes all the way here out to what we call a septic tank. And then the pipe goes in here somewhere. The septic tank is just, this is what we call a Trix tank. It can be formed out in different ways, but one of the ways is what I do like this. Then there's a hole in the plate here, and then we have another plate over here. It's the same. It means that the urine and the shit and the paper, it comes in here, but some of it is floating up here, and it cannot come to the next. It has to stay here. And the sand and so on, it falls to the bottom here, and a bit of the same happens over here. And when you come over here, it's all floating. The float up here, there is going on what we call an anaerobic process. So it means it's not just waiting and standing there forever. It goes down. It is made into fluid. It is coming back to nutrition that goes over here But everything that goes out here is floating. And then it just, it comes out here. And then in the winter, I just fulfill the storage here because there's no plants here in the winter. And when I come to springtime, it's all filled up. But then I come with my plants here. Here's the vine. It's a very big one. And then I have some tomatoes maybe. And I have some cucumbers. Pepper, figs, and whatever you want. It can be in there. They just put the roots down here. And then they have what they need. I only give them water one time, just to start them up. And then the roots are here. And that's the only thing you have to do then, it's go on toilet. Yeah.
Does your shampoo affect the plants? For example, the wastewater that you wash with, that you contain any substances that can affect the plants?
Washing powder is normally not a problem. Of course, you have to look at what it is, but it's not normally the problem. The main problem in these things, it's sprays, deodorant, and also kind of balsam for your hair. It's bullshit. Yeah, but it's also bullshit for you. So, no problem. Oh yes, this was a greenhouse. I forgot to do that. There is this one is lying outside, and then you have the greenhouse, and then I also made this system out here to connect up the rainwater. It's out here, but it has no connection. It has no connection with the wastewater.
As a farmer, can you explain, is it possible to basically have these plants all year long? Like, for example, this greenhouse, if it's heated, for example, and there's plants all year long?
Yeah.
Like in the winter?
Yeah, if you heat it, then it will grow on all the year.
Temperature should be heated and
It depends very much on the plants. I start very early, as now I have started to put salad out there now, but they are just waiting in the winter. They're just to this stage, and then in March here in Denmark they start growing, and in the end of March I have salads. So salads, they can go at a very low temperature. They only need a little more than 5 centigrades. 5 to 10 centigrades, they're growing. And between 10 and 15 centigrades, they grow fast. And if you go up between 15 and 20, they grow too fast. Then they doesn't work. So that's the reason that I start with salads and what's it called? Spinach, I guess. Yeah, salad and spinach and radish. No, I don't know the English word. Radish. Okay. These things, they go at a very low temperature. And then when I come to the end of May, then I put in tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers and so on. And they grow until the frost. I still have tomatoes now, but we have one night with frost now, and now it's finished. But if I had heated that night, for instance, they would keep on growing now. So when they first have come to this stage, also tomatoes and cucumbers, well, if you only can keep them a little above 5-10 centigrades, they keep on growing. When they start, they really need about 20-25 centigrades. But when they have grown up, they do not need very much. What the?
More light.
Yeah, that's the problem. They grow too slow because of the light. Yeah.
In Brazil, we have a place that don't have sewage system yet, so we use this system of banana trees.
No, not banana trees. It's too. They need. No.
In Brazil, I mean.
What?
In Brazil.
It's because I use ear goggles, and when there's noise in here, there's some background now with the ventilation, and what I can hear is the ventilation, And that's why I have to go very near to you.
I mean, in my country, in Brazil, we use this system but with bananas tree. Because we have places that don't have sewage system.
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
so
of course.
we use in this way.
Yeah.
And there's bamboo.
And bamboo, they also enjoy it,
Yeah.
I guess. Yes, and it grows, really. And I think this is one of the very important changes that will be, and it is because normal agriculture, they use fertilizer today. One of the contained in the fertilizer, it's phosphorus. It is so phosphorus, it takes an end during 25 years now. And the more they get of it now, one of the bad things about phosphorus, they don't tell us, but it's cadmium. There's more and more cadmium in this phosphorus we get, and that's one of the problems. They always tell us it's the batteries. No, it's fertilizer. Now, and when it ends up, we have to do something else. And it is so, every human, every year, we deliver 1 kilo of phosphorus. And it is so, the amount of nutrition we deliver, it's exactly the amount that can grow the plants you need to eat, of course. So it is. And we are not thinking in that way, but we should do that. And that is my next project. I can draw it up in a little. No, yeah, we can take. No, yeah. We continue here. But first, I have to explain something about diseases. It was one of the things I really was thinking over. It was because there can be diseases in the shit from us. And what then? And they can come out here. And what then? Well, it is so that roots, they will not take up diseases. They cannot take them in. Roots, plants, they take in nutritions on a very small level, on what we call nearly atomic level. What's it called? I don't know the English word.
Molecule.
Yeah, molecular level, but a very small molecular. They cannot, medicine also, they cannot take it in. Hormone and hormone-like stuffs, they are not able to take it in the roots. When we have problem with hormone and hormone-like stuffs, then it is not with the plants, it is with fish and things like that. It is with, what's it called? It's not plants. What's the opposite of plants now? Animals, yes, thank you. I'm just coming. The only problem that is left, it is some minerals, and especially heavy metal, and especially cadmium. It can come out here, and if I eat a lot of fish, salmon for instance, and a lot of liver from that, then I get a lot of cadmium. First of all, I take it myself and put it in here, but some of it will get out again and come out in the greenhouse. And if you get to a certain level of concentration, the roots of the tomatoes, they will take it. But you really need a heavy concentration. And it will only come into the roots, never to the fruit. The other problem, it is salt, natrium chloride. It is so we use much more natrium chloride than the plants they can accept. And then it tells me, okay, maybe you should not use so much natrium chloride. We use much too much natrium chloride, and I also should change it over. Instead of natrium chloride, it should be calcium chloride. And calcium, the plants, they need calcium. So now I try to find other types of salt, and I also try to lower the salt content in my food. Yes, now we go, I think it was this, or then we just come back. Yeah. Now I go back and make some elements, yeah?
What about the container where you store all the, like not store, like all the, yeah.
This, yeah.
Did you like made by yourself or?
It is, I must not touch it. It should, the ideal, it is that it should be emptied every 10 years, because it will grow up here little by little. But the commune, the society tells me it should be emptied every year. And it's because they compare me to other systems where you have this Twix tank and this pipe, it just goes out in nature. And then, of course, it's a problem.
But this is like a kind of already bought well kind
Like
of
system
open or system or some kind of company made this kind of.
Yeah, this one is it's a plastic thing. It has to be, it's totally tight.
But you can buy it in the shop.
Yeah, yes. It's quite expensive, but yes, that's what you have to do that in Denmark. It's not legal to do it. 20 years ago, you could build it yourself, but it's not legal today. But in my system, well, the nutritions never go further than this. They never come out here. But they say, well, they have seen it. I have had the politicians from the commune out to see it, and they say, well, fantastic system, like you see, it was fantastic. And then 2 months later, there come a bill from the director of the commune, well, you have to pay. It's the same for all. So now I pay 2,000 kroners a year to have it emptied, and I am just, they take my nutritions, and I have to pay for it. It's crazy, but it will be changed, I'm sure. It's a question about time. Now I'll make a little trick. It is now I'm going to build elements and make prefab straw bale houses. But I am going to connect all my experience with this. And this is my experiences. And it is so when I'm going to build these elements out of straw and clay plaster, then one of the gifts I have, it is that I have to find out how much weight can they take. And I can make a hydraulic test to crush it and find out. But I would also like to make a long-term test. So I want to build a small house and really have a lot of weight up on the roof. And what do I do? Well, I put my greenhouse up there. That's the step. So now we build up a house here. Now this is the roof of a house. And then we go a little further here, yes. Well, it looks a little crazy, but this is the frame. And here comes my wall now. And a little bit later I will figure out how I build up the fundament. Yeah, and instead of having water out there, this membrane, it just goes down, out here. And then I really make a very big pond out here. This will be about 2.5 meters broad, 2 meters deep, 10 meters long. It means there's 50,000 liters of water here. Now, what can we do then with that much water? Well, I can irrigate my garden still, but I also can have fish. That's the next step. It is that I can be sufficient with fish. Up here, I know I can produce about 20 kilos of fruit, vegetables per square meter. One person can give nutrition enough to at least 25 square meters, at least 25. It means up from here, I have 500 kilos of fruit and vegetables. And then I go out here and have my garden out here. If I have 100 square meters of garden with only 3 kilos per square meter, it's another 300 kilos. Now I can't eat more than that. It's enough. And if it should be needed, I could take some fish. It is to say, in another way of thinking, you suddenly can be self-sufficient. Not to say it's what we're going to, but the way of thinking. We are going to think on things like this, and our own nutritions connected to nature, so it come back to us, so we can have what we need. And what does it give? Safety. No one can take it from you. It'll be there whenever you earn money or you not earn money, just you go on toilet. So this system is the next step I'm going to develop. And and the nutrition from the fish now, it can go out into the garden. I think this could be used worldwide in one or another way. Not everywhere, but many places. Yes, that's it. It was that experiment. Now we go to the fundament. Here we have built up the house. Here we have made a small hole like this. Here we have shells, and in here we have this polystyrene wall in here, and this is shells. And now here we take the floor. It is clay sand floor, rammed earth. And then I have this is wood. This is all the wood here. Inside here it is straw, but up to here, this is plaster. And this is plaster. The outside plaster, it could be lime, but it could also be a clay plaster. It depends on the overhang. With this big overhang, it could be clay plaster. And these walls, it must be enough. Yeah, these walls, it is, if we could take this table and whip it up, then it's nearly the same size as these bales as I have. Now we say, no, we can also say, no, we say, I have just small bales now as an example. We say, I have a small bale here, and I put it on the table here. But just before I put it on the table, I have in the edge here, no, first I have put paper, what we call wallpaper. It's put on the plate now. Then I put 2 pieces of wood here all along, and I have a little very thin support in the middle. Then I put plaster on in here. All the table is filled with plaster. Then I come with my small bales, and I come for this end, and then I just push it from here, so it's fulfilled. It's because in reality these bales are much bigger, so I just push them that way. And when the table is fulfilled, there will be a stop here, and there will be a compressor here. Then they are very tight. Then I have connected, I have to draw that, I guess. It is so when we have a straw bale like this, then we have some strings. Yeah, it's called strings. Yeah. 4 of them. Very strong ones. They have the strength about 400 kilos per string. Then I compress it a little so the strings is loose, and then here in the corner I put in a piece of wood. I do it here also, and I also do it here and here. These pieces of wood, they are behind the strings. When I put these bales on on the wall, then I have a plate. I can do it the same ends. Sorry. There's a plate here now. Then I screws into this wooden piece, and I do the same outside here. Here I have what we call a regler. I don't know what it's called in English. It's a piece of wood. So I screw it in here. And that's the process I make here. the wood I had placed here before, it is now put with screws into this wood that is behind the strings. And the same I do up here. It means now I have a wooden construction at this side and a wooden construction at this side, and they are connected with the strings now. Yeah. Okay, they are connected. Now I put on plaster here also, up here, and I take a vibrator, and it means it has the layer of plaster. It's the same size as the regular 45 millimeters of plaster do I have here now. And I did the same under here because the support here I take out and also out here. So all the straw, it goes down into the plaster. And here's also vibrators under here. So everything is vibrated together now. So you really get a good connection between plaster and straw. But because of the vibration, I do not need very much water. And that's really a big advantage about plaster, because it's always a big problem afterwards. When you have water in the plaster, well, it shrinks when the water goes out. It makes cracks. But here, I am able to put 4 to 5 centimeters in one time and just vibrate it together, and that's it. Now I have the bale and the plaster together. Then all the table here is hydraulic, and then it comes up, standing up, just standing on the floor, and you don't touch it. Now it has come up with the paper, so the one side, the inside here, the paper is all the way here, and also a little bit longer. So the connection between the wood and the plaster, it is covered with paper, and that's important because plaster and wood always will not, they always will make a distance. But that's why I have the paper. And also this paper, I again can connect to the paper up in the roof. And down here, I can connect it to the floor, so it makes it tight. It's not, it's still what we call a breathing construction, but it's tight. When it's standing here to dry, then I take a van to press air into the straw, so I can dry it. And I can dry it during, well, I'll only do it in the night, but during 2 nights, I can dry the whole structure. And then it's finished. Then you have a wall with straw and clay sand. It's very strong. The weight from here, it's not on the straw, it is on the plaster, just out here. That's the structure. Because straw, it is elastic, it will always move. If you press with snow up here, it will, okay, then it will go down there. If you press more, yeah. And when you move it, yeah, it come back. It won't work in a house. So it is the plaster that take the pressure. But I have figured out, because I have also been working with ramped earth, that it could take a pressure per meter wall. It could take a pressure about 5 to 7 tons per meter. And that's more than enough. Another thing about this, it's not so interesting in Denmark, but if you have earthquakes, it is one of the strongest construction you have. You can go out on YouTube and search of earthquake straw bale. Then you come to California, where they have made a test, where they have a house, I think it's about 4 times 4 meters, and then they have put it up on a thing which is doing like this, like an earthquake. And they do it 2 times, and the earthquake, it should be similar to what they call a Richter 9 earthquake. It's quite bad. All the house, it's standing like this, but it's always come back, and it gets it 2 times, and then it keep on standing. The only thing that happens, it is the plaster. It is destroyed down here but it keep on staying. So it's really strong building. Because if you have a building like this, is it concrete? When they first go out in this position, they continue. But this is flexible, it's elastic, it comes back. And it's because of the strings. It's not the straw, it's the strings. But they are very strong because you have them sitting there every 20 centimeters on both sides. And it means per meter, you have 10 strings that can take a pressure about 4 tons. Yeah.
How can you connect like the walls to the foundation?
Well, my secret is I will not connect it. It's just standing there. And it's because it is so heavy. No one, even if you have an can up here, it will not move the walls. I know we will have a discussion. We have started it with authorities, but they can, well, okay, they can see it. We have had problems in Denmark that the roof was flying away. And it was because it was not connected to the wall. But it's not easy to connect a brick wall. So that's the reason that they had to go all the way down. But if you have, yeah, we can also have, and I think also these concrete walls, I do not think that they are really connected.
They're connected only with more.
Yeah, that's it. Because I can make no connection into this or into the clay. We can do it if we make this into concrete. Then we make the connection down there. But then you have this weight. But if you figure it out, this is all enough.
Do you have any problems with insects or mice?
Insects, we have not problems with insects in Denmark. But I won't say that you not have termites somewhere in the world that would eat all of it. Then you only have the plaster left. So, but about mice, it is the problem about mice and rats, well, it is similar to normal houses. It is so that they can only live into the straw, but they can also live into mineral wool, but they cannot eat it, and they cannot eat straw. So it's not a special problem, but it's the same.
Have you ever considered using lacquer and using thermal blocks around the foundation?
Yeah, we have been using that for many years, that we normally put up a block the first 40 centimeters. Yeah. Well, what will happen here, yeah, it'll be a little different that I have done here, but it's because what really will happen it is that I will make a small drip edge out here, and in reality then the soil will come in here somewhere. And then I will have a plate down to here. Yeah. This house I figured out if we make it 50 square meters, we say now 50 square meters enough for 2 persons, and then the greenhouse up here will be about 80 square meters, and the half of the area up here you have to use for the plants. The other half you can use for storage or workshops or whatever you want, or drinking coffee. Then this will cost in materials about 150,000 kroners in materials. And I don't know, yeah, it depends on, if you make it yourself, then it's that. And it is so that there's no, what's it called, handicraft, skilled workers, specialists that is doing these things. You cannot buy it. At the moment you have to do it yourself. My next step is only to make the walls with windows and everything. But anyway, yeah.
But are you calculating some kind of forces? And
Yeah. Everything is calculated. Yeah. Yeah, we have to do that. Yes, it's no problem.
And have you used the same principle in that very long building that you have made for your friend?
Yes, everything is calculated. But that was not the question.
Fabricated elements.
No, I'm just at the stage now. I am building up the factory.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is so. Well, as I said, I have a lot of time, but I have not so much money, so I have to do it really cheap. But then I have to work very much to build it up. I have just made the foundation now, and next spring until summer, then I have made the building on 400 square meters, and then I have to build up the tools, the implements for producing. But it's quite simple. It'll take me 1 month, I guess. So next year, at August, September, I'll make the first. Yeah. And I'll make one house next year, and then I say, okay, then I think I'm tired. Then I go for the winter, like this year. The year after, I will produce 3-4 houses, and hopefully one of them will be a test building for official tests. And then they should be made a real factory. But what I hope it is that I just want to give these ideas and to produce the tools for producing. All the production can be put on a lorry and put to everywhere in the world. Yeah.
Okay, when you think about these houses like without connections to floor and to roof, etc., and how is this going to convince me that this house is going to stay in a place where there are a lot of earthquakes?
Honestly, I don't know. I have no experience with earthquake.
Around like the walls, and then this heavy thing on top is while you're going to jiggle a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I have not been thinking on this for earthquake. No. But I think it can be, I'm quite sure it can be, what?
Very limited places around the world where there are no earthquake at all.
I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
so, because there are many buildings around the world, like Africa, and that use this material everywhere. It's not that he came up first with this material. It can be implemented in many places.
Straw bales are used worldwide, used as building material, like all really.
But maybe if it's earthquake areas, we just do like this.
What you're trying to say is, would it be a better construction with a frame in there? Is that what you?
It's not in any case, it's not going to be better than concrete structure. In that case, if we are talking, we are not right now thinking about how to make house where will be earthquakes, like really huge earthquakes every year. But the idea of this material that is as well, it's well performing, and it's not about this kind of design, but these are like tools on what we can actually get.
If you put a frame inside of these bales, is it causing a problem with heat loss through the wood, or?
No, not. It's not. If it's wood, it's no problem. Then it's no problem. But yeah, but of course, if it's if it's really earthquake, we should not place this weight up there. You just put your greenhouse out here, as I do now. It was just when it started. It was just to make a compressor and to find out how much weight can it take, and then it suddenly was there. It's not all houses that should be made like that. Not at all. But I have been thinking on it. What I would do if I had my greenhouse up there, I really wanted a connection out here to some foundation. Because if you take these 2 points, then it's connected. You really need much force to take it away. But it is practical problems. I'm sure that the elements and so on, they will be able to,
I was curious, how are you going to get the wastewater on the roof?
I just pump it up. It's no problem. It does not cost much energy. And it was the same about this when I make this oven, where I need also exhaust. But I use one now, and it uses 36 watts per hour, and I use it 1 hour a day. So it's not a big problem.
Move your toilet on top.
Yeah, I could crawl up there every time. Yes, why not? Why not? It'll be easier. Okay, I have taken that. Yeah?
Can you maybe sketch a little bit, I don't get it, element by itself, does it go to wooden structure inside and maybe the plant?
Yeah, we could do it a little better than I did this. Yeah. Now we say it's lying down. Here I have the bale, like this. And then the strings, they're also going around like this now. And then it is, these bales, they are now 50 times 80 centimeters. And then the length, I can do it nearly as I want. Of course, I cannot do it endless, but up to 3 meters I can make them. But now I make them 2 meters and 60. And now we say this is 2 meters and 60. Then when I take it first time, I just put it in a hydraulic pressure. So I go down to 2 meters and 50 sharp. And it's because this is sharp, but 2 meters and 60, it's always the length, is always plus minus 5 centimeters. So I have to make it sure that it is 250 sharp. So therefore I just take it in the machine and press it, and then these strings, they get loose, and then I put in my piece of wood here behind the string. And then the next step, it is, I take the plate. It's an OSB, 25 millimeters. Like that. And then screws into there. And then I come with my regular up here, screws into there, and also from the plate into the regular. And it will be the same here. Okay. Now we say this is, oh yes, there's one color more. Here I have my paper now. It is just lying down here. And the plaster is also here. It is supported to have a distance. It is supported under here and in the middle, but I just take them away. And then it drops down into the plaster. Yeah, and then we have the same, we take the plaster here. So far like this, I have tested it. I have made one prototype like this. And I was very, we could do it very dry. And it got very strong. When it was dry, it was keeping lying there. I went up on it and it didn't, nothing happened. I really had to keep on with 2 persons. Like that, then it cracked. But just one crack. So it is very strong. And then I say, okay, this can be done. And then you just rise it up, and then this end, it is still straw. And then you make a plate that is connected here and then there's just a hole in one of the places, one end, and there you pressure air into it, and it has to go all the way through the straw because the plaster is quite tight. And the moisture from the plaster will always go to a place where it's more dry. It can be outside like there, but it will also go inside. But then you come with the air inside. And then it's fine that you, you dry it during the night, and then the next day it will again suck up the moisture from the plaster, and you dry again. So it can be quite fast be dried. And it is one of the processes when we build with clay plaster, it takes so long time. Normally we go on with 1 centimeter of plaster first time, directly spray it into the straw. And then you have to wait, and then you make the layer of thickness about 2-3 centimeters, and then it has to dry. And it can take long. In summer it can do it in 1 week, sometimes in 2 days, and in winter it takes months. And it cracks, because to be able to put it up there, it has to contain quite a lot of water. Then it's too hard. So it cracks, and then you have the last layer, 1/2 to 1 centimeter. So at least 3 times you have to plaster when it's standing upright. And I tell you, it's much easier to do it when it's lying down, and better. What I try to tell you it is, this is much easier, gives a much better quality. But let's talk about 1 year, then I know what I talk about. It is so, it starts with a dream, imagination, and I'm not, what do we call it? I do not get calm before it is produced. There's no way left. I have to do it. And then maybe after 3 years I must say, well, it didn't work. Well, okay, then I can sleep again at least. But it's also to tell, it is to do these things. It starts with an idea, a dream, imagination, and then you have to try it. But that is what we are losing. It is people who do these things. There's so much talk about certifying and to control, yes, but there's nothing to certify, there's nothing to control, friends. We have to produce it first. So that's where we are staying. Yeah.
What I'd be interested to hear is how much money does it cost to certify a product? Do you know?
I don't know. I would never, if I should have this certified, it would never be produced.
Yeah.
Because they're standing 10 people with a very high education that need a lot of money to certify it. And they never have touched this, but they have all the figures. It's because I'm sometimes tired of this, because we need people who make things and not people who control us. I'm out of control. So that's the next step. Then my next step is when if this go as I am dreaming, then we need a factory. Many places in the world, but also in Denmark. And I'm just in search of, what time is it? Do we have to stop now? No. It's just to share an idea. It is so I get a lot of ideas, and just to give it up, and it's just to listen. What do you think about this idea? It is in Denmark, we have a lot of factories that is empty, because the production, the real production, it's going out of Denmark, because the manpower in Denmark is too expensive. So it goes to Eastern Europe, it goes to China, India, everywhere. So we have the factories, empty buildings left. At the same time, we have a lot of educated young people. Right now they talk about 25,000 that just newly educated. And what to do? Nothing. And it's because that everyone have the idea that they need a job. You can, you are manpower, so you need a job. And if it's not there, there's nothing to do. It's not right. We have space, we have these factories, and if we can buy them very cheap, and we can start with building some very cheap houses with this fantastic system with the wastewater and so on, low-cost buildings where you can live, then I'll say, okay, then it will be enough. It is so for me. I use 1 day a week to earn money. And it could be a lot of more people who could do that. The other days, they could be creators, not manpower, but creators who create their own future. They create what is the meaning of their life. And maybe some of them just will paint, or they will make musician, or authors, whatever. Or somebody will go out and make much better houses than I have been dreaming about. But it has to start with these dreams. And we have a surplus of time and space. Instead of waiting on somewhere place there's a job for me. No, I created myself. That's the position we have. It's a luxury position, but we're not used to it. And then because we don't want to see this possibility, then it's destructive. But I really mean that it's a luxury problem that we can have a high education and there's nothing to do. Yes! Then I have my time myself. Why not? It's another way of thinking. And of course, in this process, what is now? It is that we have been individualized, individualism. I don't know. Is it called that? Yeah. Yeah, we are lonely. Yeah, that's a big problem. But it has been a process from where we have coming that we have to stand and trust on our own. But the next step, it is okay. I can suggest to give my force, my ideas, my dreams to the others. It's a gift. We can give each, and it could be another way of creating the world. Because the imagination now, it's going on that I'm going to have a big house and a big car and the right shoes, and they're not only the right shoes, but the right ears, the right ass, the right everything, or then I'm not a success. It goes about success or fiasco. Is it right, fiasco? Yeah.
Failure.
What?
Failure.
Failure, yes. Success and failure. But it is these things, success and failure, it's not from the human world, it's from the market. It's something the market had created and put into our head, that it's so it should be. We have to leave it and say there's another way to build it up. And we have the possibility to do it. And if we do that, there's a possibility for the people all over the world. Because what we do with the market, it is destroying nature, and it is with the direction at war. It's what I see. So back to the factories and do it yourself. That's what I think it must be possible. What do you think? Am I crazy? I'm not sure I want to come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I want to stay outside.
Yeah, probably you do.
Yes, I do that. And I would like to show you why. If we have society here, this is from a guy called Jürgen Habermas. This is the state. This is the market. And here we have what we could call the living area or the civilian area. The state and the market, we are back to, it's also what we call the system area. They have a system up here. System area. That system, well, it's economy. Yes, it's work. And rationality, the way of thinking, the way of being systematic, to really to go for the goal, as we call it. That's the system. That's the values. They have a little congruence about the economy should be from the market's invisible hand. You know what I mean? The market's invisible hand taking care of the economy. Or it should be from a central government into the state. They call it socialism and liberalism. And that's all the politics it goes around. This is, well, now in Denmark it goes a little maybe this way now. It has been very much this way. And we focus on that. But what really happens, it's down here. It is function by function we give up here because it's so compressed. We have to go out working here or there. We are busy. We have to make career. We have to earn a lot of money. We don't have time for the old people. We don't have time for the children. We don't have time to make really food. We have to buy the industrial bullshit. And little by little, we don't have time to clean our own clothes or clean our own home. What I try to tell you, it is that this room gets smaller and smaller. It is invaded by this way of thinking. We start now thinking systematic in the civilian area. To be fast enough to reach the goals that, well, I have to go to sports and I have to look like that and I have to be the right way. I have to be very highly educated. I think it's time now to say no, because what we have developed now, it is that the human, are we here to, what it called, to support the state and the market? No, it should be opposite. The state and the market it's for our sake, it's here. And that's why one of the reasons I say we need space and time, because if we have space and time enough, well, you can look at the market and say, well, I don't buy that bullshit, I don't buy that bullshit, I don't buy that bullshit, and they won't produce it. It's what I try to say, it is if we have conscious to say what is right and wrong, and not talk about success and failure, but what is right and what is wrong to do, well, the market would do it. And the same, the politicians, if we have consciousness to say, well, we want that, they'll go for it. But like it is now, it's like we look at television, just looking at everything, standing and, yeah, okay, what can I do? No, that's wrong. It's exactly us who can do it. We can rise up as individuals and say, what way do I want the world to move? And it moves. For sure, it will not move if you're just sitting, looking at television. And that's what has happened. In Denmark, we look at television in an average 3.5 hours a day. And I don't know how much we sit looking at the internet. But it's many hours. And I don't believe it anymore. Not to say that we should have no television or internet, but we have to build up a new culture where we say, okay, this is all right for something, for the material thing, but if I want life, you cannot find it here. You'll never find life in these things. And that's why I say we must create a new economy where we have time and to find out, not to say I have not the answers. what we should find out. But we have to go and create the space where we can find our life. Yeah, okay. I think we stop now. You'll always be welcome, and we could make an agreement at any time, only not the next 2 months. But then you, and Friland is an open area also. You can also go there, but if you want to come inside and have the explanation, it's good to have an agreement. Yeah, and the cost is about 1,250 kroners. But if you come and connect me, well, we can use all day if you want. And we could also, but I don't think you have space of time of that, but if you're interested, we also could make workshops, well, where we take the materials into the hands. That's one of the best things. It is to combine the materials, because, well, it is something else when you have had these materials in your hands, then you find out this is reality. It's not just talk. And you also get the feeling, well, I don't know, this is life. You get happy. Happy, it's not, but it's so funny when we make workshops, when people start working with clay and sand, it's totally silence. Yeah.